According to DissentMagazine.org, marriage is both ubiquitous and central. All across our country, in every region, in every social class, in every race, every ethnicity, every religion or non-religion, people get married. For many, if not most, moreover, marriage is not a trivial matter. So why is it a trivial matter when it comes to sexual orientation? It's very important to change the policies on same-sex marriages. Everyone is created equal. In the United States, everyone has the same rights except when it comes to marriage. One of the principles of our country is the separation of church and state, and if that is to be upheld, then religious hang-ups should not be a factor when determining the outcomes of people's lives. The right to marry is for all and not just some. I've done my research on this topic, and I also have a cousin who is a lesbian, and I want for her what I have for myself, and that is to live a life free of discrimination. All of the U.S. states and territories should legalize same-sex marriage because it is a basic human right defined by our country to marry whomever you want to, regardless of sex. Today I'll be talking about the problems with same-sex marriage being illegal and some possible solutions to this problem. Let's talk about the problems. Sexual orientation should not be a determining factor in who you can legally marry in this country and reap the legal benefits. Discrimination of the LGBT citizens is a major concern in our country. According to www.huffingtonpost.com, Michael Griffin, an openly gay teacher at Holy Ghost Preparatory School in Bethlehem, was fired on Friday for obtaining a marriage license with his longtime partner in New Jersey, and the dismissal was completely legal under the Pennsylvania state law. The happiness of him was not a factor in this at all, because he was not fired because of he wasn't doing a good job. He was fired because his happiness was not in compliance with the religious foundation of the school, and that's not right. According to www.advocate.com, there are 77 countries in the world where being gay remains a crime, and in some cases is punishable by forced labor, lifelong prison sentences, and even execution. Said Rawbar, who previously created a PSA alongside the nonprofit Moms Demand Action to raise awareness against gun violence in public schools. This isn't a problem, just a problem in the U.S., but a problem around the world. And around the world, along with the U.S., citizens of the LGBT community are getting harshly punished just for being who they are and nothing more. LGBT citizens can't reap the legal benefits of heterosexual couples who are married. According to www.nolo.com, the case involved Edith Windsor and Thea Spire, who married in Canada in 2007 after being in a relationship for 40 years. When Spire died in 2009, Windsor was forced to pay $363,053 in federal taxes on Spire's estate, which would not have happened if Spire was her husband. She argued that DOMA, which is the Defense of Marriage Act, which prevented her from being considered Spire's spouse, for federal purposes, cost her over almost $500,000. Now, Windsor won this case, and since she did win, same-sex couples started to get federal benefits. But the federal benefits still come with guidelines and various degrees of eligibility, which heterosexual couples don't have to go through. Nationally legalizing same-sex marriages are important because civil unions are just not enough. According to civilunions.akil.org, couples who have civil unions would not have any of the protections or responsibilities federal law provides for heterosexual married couples. Heterosexual couples don't have to go through things like this, and it's a travesty that homosexual couples have to. Now let's talk about some possible solutions. People have tremendous influence in change. One thing we can do is to start programs educating people about LGBT citizens so they can join the cause and join petitions. People need to be educated on the LGBT community and learn about their organizations and what their organizations stand for. people also need to be educated on what it actually means to be an LGBT citizen, and what it means to go through what they have to go through, and learn that they're not just some weird, sinful, lower class citizen, but a human being like the rest of us and deserve to be treated as such. After this education, petitioning should see a steep rise, and one organization that people can join is the Human Rights Campaign. And the Human Rights Campaign fights for the equality of all LGBT citizens, so they can have the same rights as heterosexual people have. Another solution is to contact your state representatives and senators. According to www.foxnews.com, Governor Rick Snyder says Michigan won't recognize more than 300 same-sex marriages performed last weekend. This is coming after a federal judge ruled that defining marriage as just between a man and a woman was unconstitutional. So how can you contact these representatives and senators? You can send them an email, something as simple as that, to let them know your frustration and let them know that you want to see change in this country. So just to recap, I talked about some problems with same-sex marriages being illegal, and I talked about some possible solutions. If our country is really about being a model for the international society, then this is one of the matters that needs to be remedied. Equality is for all and not just for some.